Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So first off, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my YouTube members, Isaiah. Thanks for your support. Now, of course, many of you have already downloaded the newest version 3.1.100, and if you have, which is, by the way, in the Play Store or App Store, you will have access to not only Chapter 6 of the Apocrypha, the newest banners available, which also feature the newest unit, Yakumo. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So, of course, then, in tonight's episode of Should You Summon, we'll discuss Yakumo in its various forms in terms of banners, and then, of course, I'll just give my thoughts and opinions about the unit in general. Alright, so let's get right into it. There are two types of Fateful. This one is the 2x maxed Fateful Chaos Banquet series, and so, just like it says, on the 10th ally encounter, you can guarantee one of the 10 units. So, Yakumo, Alter his Minoka, Byakuya AS, Hina AS, Garam AS, Radius AS, Nikoko AS, Sora AS, and Yukino AS. Now, many of these are kind of connected to the Eastern, or in some cases, El Zion or the Future, KMS, and so on and so forth. And definitely many of these are kind of main or very featured units in the kind of the main story over that last few chapters. So let's go, if you look at it, the 4.5s are not uprated. Only the last pull is uprated to 10% each of the, for the 10 units. Note that you can pull regular 5 stars, any type, because this is a paid encounter and it will have all the units up to date on pulls 1 to 9, but if you don't get anything, then pull 10 will definitely, have one of those 10 for you. And like I said, it has every unit in the game, Aoife, Alma, Orlea, Flam, so on and so forth. All the altars are here as well, right there. And of course, bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights still pervade this banner. And then, of course, there is the special banner, just the Fateful Encounter for Yakumo and Kumos itself. So keep in mind that because this one features Yakumo, you do get uprate 0.4 for the 4.5, 0.8 for the 5, and those are on pulls 1 to 9. Pull 10 will have a flat 10% chance. And so if you're talking about just better odds of getting any form of Yakumo, whether or not it's 4.5 and 5, the regular so-called Faithful at 3 times chance is a better shot of getting Yakumo than the other Chaos Banquet. However, of course, the Chaos Banquet does have the advantage of getting other units guaranteed on the last pull, because if this one you don't get Yakumo on pull number 10, you'll get a random 5-star out of the 100 or more units in the game, including some of the older and newer 5-stars. So you run a little bit more risk that way, but you trade it off by having increased chance on pulls 1 to 9. And finally, our own for the free-to-plays. Let's take a look at who we're shared with or what kind of odds we're talking about here. So, no other unit, but the odds don't change. And so I would consider this to be the same odds as a split banner. The only difference is that if you don't get the featured unit, you are going to get one of the other 100-something 5-stars in the game, new, old, and kind of in between. And again, being that this is a free banner, the last 2 newest units are not in here. So, honestly, ES Mario, I think, was the newest, and then before that, honestly, it's been hard to track some of those units. But that being said, anyone older, including the Minoka with Tetra as the other buddy featured in the gacha system, Eevee, all these powerful units, Alma, Alea, AS Nikoko, and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, you know what's up here. The Curvos, yes! The Maze, the Yos, and the other types of, Asia, and so on and so forth out there. Alright, so, since we have 3 different banners of Yakumo, it all comes down to, do you like Yakumo? What does Yakumo offer you, and should you summon on it? So, Yakumo is our second shade magic user other than Complex Dreams. Harley, I don't really consider her as one, but she does have, you know, shade abilities. In this case, he is full-on shade, super shade attacks, all shade. He does not have actually a secondary element, just straight shade, powerful shade, and outright mega DPS as a shade magic user. He actually thrives in both Shade Zone, aka Efi, or Magic Zone, which you have a number of different units that can apply Magic Zone. Now, first of all, he does also have a buddy, and so we have to ask you whether or not you're pulling for the unit or the buddy or both. In any case, getting the Yakumo, even at 4.5, you'll have exposure to getting Kumos as long as you upgrade to the 5-star, and you are always, as usual, with a buddy, getting 2 for 1 in that sense. Now, Kumos the buddy has a lot of benefits already. Its auto attack is speed down 15%, shade resistance down 15%, and it can stack over time. So if the battle keeps on going, the shade resistance will stack at 5 stacks up to 45% shade resistance down. This plays very well with Yakumo, who can also apply shade resistance down on the enemy if the fight lasts that long. Also, it restores party's members' MP plus 10%, and for Yakumo, it restores 20%. And since Yakumo burns through a ton of MP with his attacks, then having MP recovery is very useful, not only for him, but for the rest of your team. And of course, that also helps with fights where it drains all your MP, and we've had a few of those recently. Also, Yakumo has end of turn MP restore based on 50% of the damage to his HP bar taking this turn. If he gets hit, he also has an MP shield. So I'm not really sure how this passive skill works, but apparently he takes damage less 50%, so it's almost like a guaranteed barrier at all times, and it consumes MP equal to the damage that was reduced. And so that means that if he gets hit before, like say the enemy acts before you, then you will drain your MP first. And so keep that in mind that he has a limitation in that sense. I don't think you can turn it off. It's just one of his passives. Now, he is a lunatic unit, and he has the Risk Taker variety. Risk Taker is also applied by Yifi, which happens to be a Shade Zone setter. So, you know, they play very well together in that sense. He can activate Lunatic with his VC, which also recovers his own max MP. And or he can just activate it with a button, or he can use Efi's blood contract to give him Risk Taker. And just as a reminder, Risk Taker gives him extra damage by 70%, guarantees magical crit, very, very useful. However, it comes at a cost of 20% self damage every attack on its HP. That can trigger pretty interesting with some of his other mechanics, since by the how much damage he takes, he recovers MP, for example. He actually has another move that can, I guess, damage himself and recover his MP by the same amount of HP consumed. And that one also gives him int 50, speed 50, mental focus on himself. And so he can boost himself. He doesn't need any other units to boost himself. He actually can give himself overthrow. And if you have Ultra Tuva, aka Violent Lancer, you'll know how powerful that is. Overthrow basically makes it him more powerful against enemies which are higher levels than himself. And if you're taking on super bosses or even anything more difficult, especially with master level and so on and so forth, those level 110s and 120s and so on and so forth, you're going to have some advanced damage against those. His main DPS is called Deletion, and basically does a shade magic AoE. Ignores defenses, very similar to, I think Efi also ignores defenses. There's some other units that do that too, so that just means that you're going to do more damage. And it consumes a ton of MP, 100 MP plus 10% of his max MP, and so that can add up really, really fast. However, if he has enough MP, he can attack again up to 5 times using the same formula. And so, with that, each hit counts as a charge on a bar. So, for example, 5 hits will be 5 moves essentially, and 5 moves in, for example, Shade or Magic Zone will count as 7.5 times 5. So you're recovering your AF bar by 37.5 outside AF. I imagine that inside AF, the animation will be slow because, you know, it's like 5 animations, but it'll still charge each and every time. So not sure how that plays out in the AF, but outside AF, you can charge a bar essentially in 1 or 2 turns as long as you can recover his MP. And of course, in Lunatic, it does more damage, and you know, there's many ways to get Lunatic, so we don't have to go over that. So, I mean, he has other mechanics as well, but the main thing you need to know is he can do a ton of damage. He's got a buddy that can reduce shade resistance as well as MP recovery. He himself can apply shade resistance down as well as increase his own shade damage. And by the way, that in Lunatic will be 100 capped. So shade damage up, shade resistance down. Yeah, tons and tons of abilities. So he is a little bit selfish. He doesn't have any buffs that really give to others. But if you're looking for a selfish DPS that is high level DPS and a high shade DPS, look no further than Yakumo. And like again, you do get the buddy as well. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of you know, what I think about Yakumo. I'm not sure how often we're going to be using shade zone or shade damage. I'm assuming this chapter's super boss may be vulnerable to shade, in which case Yakumo and Ify will come very well in taking on stuff like that. Yeah, so crazy stuff. And by the way, he has tons of MP as well, so he can get really high max MP, and that will help power him up as well. So let me know again in the comments. I know a lot of you are probably planning to summon. I've read it on the Another Eden subreddit that a lot of people have been saving tons and tons of stones. A lot of my subscribers, you guys have already commented that you also have tons and tons of stones. And if not, there's always the credit card to go for the Fatefuls. Again, I wish you all great luck in pulling for Yakumo. I will also be pulling for Yakumo. My oldest son, aka Jeff Morrison, he doesn't really interact with his Discord or with his YouTube channel anymore, but he did pull Yakumo in 2K stones already before this video was done. So I am anxiously hoping that I will have similar luck in my endeavor to get him. But you never know. RNG can be cruel. Gacha can be evil, and I hope I'm not as bitter as Yakumo is. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.